I'm living broke, it's pretty safe to say. Gotta live if you gotta take it away. Wait, it's the worldwide American way. Wait, I'm living broke.
What's going on, guys? Proof here, and today is gonna be my 200 sub special for the Q&A that I asked you guys to submit questions for. And before I get into it, I just want to say thank you to everybody that stuck around from whenever you joined up to now. And things changed, or when I started this channel, like I didn't imagine it getting as far as it has so far. I know it's like low expectations, but I didn't have quality video software. I didn't have a quality setup like I do now, and like I kind of did this from the ground up, and I'm thankful for everybody that has stuck around and subscribed and shared it with their friends and all that good stuff. And so thank you very much for getting me this far, and I hope you guys stick around for the future, because I got some good stuff coming up, at least in my own mind. And so for this Q&A, I asked people to submit questions to me, and I've looked at them, glanced at them, but I haven't really like fully looked at them. And so when I read them now, it's gonna be like you guys are gonna see my reactions and mulling it over and all that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you again for 200. And Atlas, come here, hop up. Oh, oh, thank you, buddy. One of the first questions I had was from Nico Justice on the Reddit, was if I could have the puppy for as part of the Q&A. And so he's a little camera shy, but see if you can see him. Say hi. Say hi to the people. And so he's gonna be sticking around. He's gonna be going to and fro, left and right. Whew, tired. And so hope you're happy with that, Nico Justice. So going into this, I wanted to try and have like a little more get to know you type questions, but along the way some questions snuck in, like game mechanics and stuff, and I'm sure I'll answer those, it's fine. And so from Shintaku, if you use Gavrel's stride break effect to call Nurse of Broken Heart, does Nurse of Broken Heart get the 2000 power bonus? And for what I remember from Gavrel, when you stride on her, you look at the top 3, I think, and put one into the damage zone, and then you call one out from the damage zone, and the unit you call gets +2. Because of that, if you put Broken Heart in and then call Broken Heart out, she's gonna get the 2k power bonus. If you're talking about her GB1 skill of giving her and the Vanguard +2, that does not work, because the whole effect has to finish before Broken Heart can get the extra bonus on top of that. And so hope that answers your question, because I'm kind of keen on Angel Feather, but I haven't played it against it in such a long time, or at least that's not true. I haven't really looked at it closely enough to understand the full, the full interactions with it. And so I'm going off of my memory here and from the best of my memory. From Aruku, which is the best Spike Brothers build for you personally, and give your reason why? If you've been following my stuff on the channel and on like Pojo and Reddit and all that stuff, I'm a huge follower or believer in the Ryzen Miracle deck, with the focus on striding on top of Ryzen Nova, and then building your game plan to get to Miracle Ace's GB3 skill. The reason I like it so much is because I'm guessing I'm a combo player at heart. But I like the fact that with Frog Raider and Miracle Ace's GB3 skill, his activate skill that gives another unit +5 when another unit goes back to the bottom, it can effectively negate your opponent's damage triggers. And so one of my big gripes with the the Bloody Ogle deck is that if my opponent was at, say, 3 damage and they hit consecutive damage triggers from 4 to 5, that the burst potential of the combo goes down precipitously. And so I didn't like that, because my opponents have a huge ability, I guess, because when they're playing me, their damage trigger check count goes up at the tail end of the game. But I have a running joke that my opponent will always check a 5th damage draw trigger and have just enough guard in their hand to survive the turn from that extra 1 card that they got and the power on top for their Vanguard. And so I hated the fact that my opponent could live my combo off of 1 or 2 damage triggers. And so when I fully understood how Miracle plus Frog Raider work together, I was like, I'm on board. Like, let's go. We are ready. And there have been multiple times where my opponent has checked 4th damage trigger and a 5th damage trigger, and I was able to go above and beyond that to blow them out. Ooh. Or yeah, blow them out, whatever. Like, finish the game off with the rest of my combo because I had maybe 3 charge units left in my hand plus the soul necessary to Soul Blast and keep making Frog Raider bigger. And there's been times when my opponent had 6 damage healed on me and I still had enough to get to the end of the game from there. And so I definitely enjoy it. It's my favorite deck, like, ever in Vanguard, and that's huge because I played a lot of different decks coming up to now. And I hope people will continue to use it and understand the potential that it has and don't ignore it because Bloody Ogle is still really good. Because I know there's some people that are like Bloody Ogle or bust, and then there are other people that, like me, who have like seen and used and analyzed all the other different decks available. And so I hope people will continue to give Rising Nova plus Miracle Ace a chance because I'm a huge proponent of it. And so I'm gonna keep riding the high. That made no sense at all, did it? I'm gonna keep supporting it, keep pushing it, and let people like see the power that Miracle Ace really has. Because I know people weren't high on it when it first came out. All right, from Elliot Gale, if you could erase 1 card from the game, what would it be? Whew, that's tough because there's a few cards in the game that I don't think are healthy for the game, and not to be like thinking about this from a non-selfish side because Chaos Universe really messes me up for Spike Brothers now. But if I could erase 1 card from the game, it'd probably be Commander Laurel. And I know DP players like boo, hiss, like forget you, but Commander Laurel does so much for that deck that it allows you to win games that you otherwise had no reason to win. And so on top of that, it's a huge comeback if you're down and you have criticals on your Vanguard. But also, as soon as it's on the field, it's a huge pressure gauge, basically waiting to bust. Excuse me. And like the pressure that it gives, the card advantage that it gives, the comeback potential that it gives is so much wrapped into 1 card that the detriment of having to rest 4 of your Dimension Police rear guards, like, it has no fallback on it. Because nowadays with Stride, back when I used to play DP, Link Joker was huge. And so they would lock you down and then you'd have nothing but your 11k or 13k Vanguard to try and to win the game, which wasn't enough at that time. But now you have a 26k Vanguard, a 44,000 Vanguard if you're playing Cosmic Heroes, stuff that gets like huge and has crits on top of on-hit skills. So you can pressure the Link Joker player's hand to the point to where their card advantage that they gained from locking you down doesn't make up for the fact that they locked down your field to stop Laurel from happening. And so all that wrapped into 1, like, it's a lot. And if I was Bushiroad, I would completely ban Laurel and make a GB restricted version of Laurel. I'd be fine with that. And I've talked to my friends here locally, and that's the way they would like to go with it as well. Because Laurel is too strong early game from 1 to 3 because they can't, like, against some matchups, opponent or the DP player isn't really punished for dropping their hand down and then attacking with Vanguard because Laurel's on the field and getting some of that card advantage back. And so if they restricted it and then made it a GB version, like, I'd be cool with that. I've heard people say if it retired itself, a la Cap Butler, they'd be fine with that too. So I just wish Bushiroad would fix it and change it up. The only other card that I think is a problem for the game is Machine and Destroyer, because the fact that your opponent can do it 4 times in a row, and if you don't have a grade 3, you shut your opponent out the whole game. Like, that's a lot to me. Like, at least with stuff like Diablo, you can counterplay against it by loading up your field. But against Machine Destroy, if you don't have the grade 3 in hand, your game is pretty much just gone, and you've lost, like losing one turn of riding a 3 and losing that twin drive or triple drive. You lose so much advantage from that the machining player is going to get so far ahead that you can't come back. So I guess I tweaked the question a little bit, but those be the two problem cards I see in the game so far that need to be addressed, in my opinion. From Kai Superfly, what are your thoughts on how the game is evolving in terms of newer G-based decks and Stride units clashing with older decks like Revengers and Sanctuary Guard, and the future of those older decks as game shifts ever more toward the G-based decks? I actually like where the game is at right now. Like, it's the most diverse that the game has been since inception, from what I can remember. I came into the game around, I think, set 3, back when Pale Moon was finally a fully realized clan and Spike Brothers were kind of coming along as well. And so, like, the game has been the most diverse it's been, because like before it was strictly the Yin and Royals, or the Yin Royals and Shadows, and like it was pretty much those like 3 main decks along with then Gold Paladins, because OG Garmor was amazing. And so things like, it's usually been like Paladin based decks like coming up through time, and so it's kind of in Kagura, so it started having to shift towards more diverse meta. And to me, the game is the healthiest that it's been in a long time, and like it's coming more towards using your cards effectively than it is like who's flipping more critical triggers and more triggers. Like, there's still that element to the game, but it's coming more like using your cards effectively and intelligently guarding and thinking ahead and having card knowledge, knowing what to look out for. And I definitely enjoy that. And so in terms of older stuff being supported while new stuff is being supported, I like that, because like Bushiroad doesn't want to set rotate, from what I remember, minus G regulation speculation that's been going around now. They like that their cards from older sets can continue to be used. So it's kind of like getting return on your investment in that sense, and I like that a lot, because I don't want to. Those are kind of things that turn me off from games like Magic and Force of Will. The fact that I could have one deck for now, but then knowing that I'd have to invest another X amount of dollars to make a competitively viable deck in the future, it wasn't the greatest idea to me, especially because I'm older now and I'm trying to think ahead and things like that. So I hope that answers your question. If not, I can always address it in the future. And then from EQ1, do you still use a Limit Break Legion deck without any G units like me? I do not. Like, strides like are a necessity right now, especially from all the value that you get from having the stride units, because some support limit breaks like Good End Dragger, some support older decks in general, and so like at worst you're pitching a grade 3 and getting 3 chances at a trigger, and so that in and of itself is amazing for card advantage over time and pressuring your opponents. He has multiple questions, by the way. What attracts you into playing Vanguard? I like playing it because the game is fun. The people that I'm around, like my group of friends up here, they're hilarious to be with, and like being able to throw ideas back and forth with them is fun. Like being able to do the podcast with them keeps me interested, because we can talk about various aspects of the game and how we would like to see the game change or improve in the future, and things that like top 10 lists, like fun little wacky things like that. I enjoy that a lot. And so most of that is like the people I'm around, the community I'm around. And like the game in and of itself to me is fun, and I like going to the bigger tournaments up in New York or down in Atlanta back when I lived down in the South, things like that. Like the community, minus the few, I guess, toxic people here and there, like they're better than other communities from what I've heard, and so I definitely enjoy that. What kind of unit do you want to support Limit Break in this era? I mean, the Limit Break enablers are fine to me. Like I can't think of any one particular card, because like you have Chaos Bringer that brings out Chaos Emperor, Chaos Breaker, Chaos Emperor. I think that's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. You have Good End that supports Bad End. You have things that maybe they could always develop one stride per clan that directly supports the limit break of that clan. But then again, there's some clans like Kagura that have multiple limit breaks, or Narukami that have multiple limit breaks. So which one would you support? Things like that. But it'd be kind of cool if they had like a certain stride that would support the limit break. As long as if they're gonna push G regulation, as long as they made a reprint of that stride to bring it into the G regulation era, things like that. Let's see. Who do you really want to beat in the Vanguard anime? Kyo. I don't like Kyo. I wish Spike Brothers had a more serious character because the clan like has been the butt of some jokes. I don't like that. It's like the whole Adelaide thing. Like if you like Adelaide, that's fine, but I don't like the whole joke surrounding her. The fact that she got the deck box and the sleeves, all that stuff. Like it just makes the clan the butt of the jokes, and then people don't take it seriously. And that's where I want to be at. I want to be at the point where the people respect the clan and start to take it more seriously. And then, have you ever wondered why Gear Chronicle is in Dark Zone? I have no idea why. I guess they couldn't throw it in Stargate, even though Stargate is the clan that has the machines and all that stuff. Considering that half their units are gear related stuff, and then intersperse here certain humans that interact with that. They could have easily been Stargate, but I guess I don't know. I throw my hands up. So that's Bushiroad's call for that one. From Fish Bass, or Fish Base, probably Fish Bass. But either way, my dude from Pojo. Why isn't Cheer an archetype yet? I don't know. They have a few key Cheer units, like their heal triggers are usually Cheers. They have a couple PGs that are Cheers. They don't have a Cheer grade 2 or Cheer grade 3, but they do have Eiley. I think that's gonna be her English translation. I've heard it like Riley, stuff like that. We'll see. But they have units in there, but I guess they just haven't thought about it yet to be a fully realized archetype. I don't see why they don't have other sports in Vanguard, considering that they have Spike Brothers with Blood Ball / football. They could have had a baseball clan, they could have a basketball clan, they could have a soccer clan, they could have things like that. There's ways they can go about this. How can Spike Brothers be real if our eyes aren't real? I mean, if you want to call it real, they're based on a kind of a deck building game called Blood Ball Manager. So if your eyes aren't real, I can't help you with that. Other than that, then that's the only thing I can think of. From Crazy Cat, I know him personally. Where do you see Spike Brothers going in the future / where do you want them to go? I like the course that they're on here with Charge, because Charge is a great mechanic for them because it fits their theme. Where I want to see them in the future is that I hope they have maybe 1 or 2 Charge units that have a skill that's not generation break restricted, because I don't see the whole big fear of having a Cobalt Impulse come down early off of Dudley Mason, because you have to give up a card in your hand for Mason to call him out for the chance to on hit and draw a card, and Mason doesn't even give it power. And like, considering that there's some clans that have like really easy ways to retire early game, like I don't see the whole problem with Counterblast 1, put a card from my hand into the soul, to call out a guy who then has an on hit skill of retire 1 and draw 1 as long as he hits, and then he goes back to the deck immediately. And so I don't get why all Charge units are generation break restricted, considering that the mechanic itself is not restricted to generation break. So it's a huge break. Actually, it's a minus because you have to give up the card, and the card's not permanent on the field. Excuse me. So I hope to continue to see that they have more units that aren't generation break restricted, because outside of Mason, like their early game is like the early game pressure is limited to him and him alone, and maybe Spike Bouncer, but nobody really knows what Spike Bouncer does except for me and the people that are huge into the clan. But I hope to see more early pressure units, maybe 1 more on hit unit for Vanguard in the grade 2 slot. But above that, I like where Charge is headed. There's room for it to grow. I hope maybe Bushiroad realizes how bad Axe Diver is and they give us a different quote-unquote Glimmer Breath clone, because Axe Diver is really awkward and it doesn't fit into the deck that Bushiroad intended it to be in. It would fit better if it was outside the clan in a different deck, because there are clans that would like the bind one. Maybe if it unlocked, like that'd be great if Axe Diver's bind superseded lock, like it unlocked it and then bound it and then brought it back. That'd be great. He'd be used as a tech of in a lot of Spike Brothers decks over Poker, but that's not what he does. And as he is now, he's kind of awkward and it's not efficient enough for the clan. Let's see. If you were a unit, what would your card look like / do? Of course, it'd be a Spike Brothers unit. Maybe, I have no idea what it will look like. It'd probably be me and some with Spike shoulder pads on with some kooky pose going on, because that's how things are. That's how things go. But as what it would do, I feel like it may be kind of similar to what Rise of Nova does, in that it would, or maybe Picaro with a slightly easier cost, in that it would trade a card from your hand to call out a unit or two in some capacity, and maybe give it power. Because me as a person, I like to help people. Like part of the reason I do this channel is to A, because it's fun, B, because it's a creative outlet for me, and C, I like to see the stuff I'm doing helping people. Like maybe they didn't think about a certain combo, or maybe they just didn't know what Spike Brothers did, or maybe they didn't know how certain thing insert here worked, and they reach out to me to see if I can cover it to help them out with it. And so in that similar vein, maybe I could trade up in a sense to call out multiple things and give them some support, so that way they could hit harder on the Vanguard type stuff. That's what I think. That's what I would do. Maybe I could stride on top of Rise and Nova, activate Nova's skill to call out a unit, and then my skill will activate and make a copy of what I called into the other rearguard circle type thing. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe Busho would do that. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything and ruined your plans. Let's see. If you were given a chance to change one thing about the game, what would it be and why? The only thing that I'm not keen on, I think, like, is the mulligan system. Like, G-Assist is fine, but it really punishes you for missing your optimal ride. And so I wonder, like, if there was a slight change in the way to mulligan. Like, I've said this before, but if you could draw 7 cards and then mulligan at least 2 of them to get back to your starting 5, I think that'd be fine. Because, so you start the game off, you normal procedures, and then when you draw your open hand, you draw 7 cards. And then if you don't have what you need, you pull back as many as you need to, and then draw back up to your 5. And then that way, the idea is to improve consistency, to be able to give yourself the best chance of having what you need. Alright, I had to take a quick little bathroom break, but we are back. And I hope I answered the last question sufficiently. And if not, definitely reach out to me and I'll answer it. What's up, puppy? Come here. Come here. You wanna say hi to the people? You wanna say hi to the people? Alright. The next question. What you doing? No. My water bottle. The next question is from Townmaster 2. You gonna bring me the water bottle? You gonna bring me the water bottle? The next question is from Townmaster 2. Sorry about that. It's from Townmaster 2, and he says, if you were to remain a clan other than Spike Brothers, what would it be? And I believe it would be Shadow Paladin, because, or Grand Blue. For Shadows, I don't mind the mechanic of having to sacrifice a unit for power, a la Tachikaze, and I like the restanding Vanguards that they have. I really enjoy that, and I actually have a Revenger Abyss deck built, and I use it from time to time, even though I'm focusing on Spike Brothers right now. But I really enjoyed their mechanic. I like the advantage that they can gather in the mid game with the retires. In terms of Grand Blue, I actually like the I played zombies when I played Magic for a time, so I like the ability to call stuff out of the graveyard and get the advantages off of those. And now with the Stride Night Row stuff, they actually have their own little mini multiple attack combo that they can pull off. Excuse me. And those would be my main two. Shadows for their advantages and the restanding vanguards. Grand Blue for their ability to call back stuff from the graveyard and get advantages through that stuff. And so I definitely like those two clans. I wish I had a Grand Blue deck back when it was less popular, now that the stuff has come up in price. But one of my friends back at home, he actually wanted to play Grand Blue. And so when I actually had the stuff from the earlier stuff back when Night Mist Break Ride came out, one of the guys from my old locals passed him the deck on. And so he definitely been picking it up from there and playing on and off from then on. From Shiro Kiba, what do you think of the keywords that have been revealed for each clan so far, and how do you think they will impact future support for said clan? I actually like all the keywords because it saves text on the card, so that way they don't have to keep reiterating stuff over and over again, more or less. And then it kind of opens up the clans themselves for more support in the future. So like for Engorge, for Tachis, they can actually have more stuff that benefit from X number of Engorge units that are eaten on their attack. Or for Spikes with their charge mechanic, like I mentioned before, hopefully they have stuff that's charged but not GB restricted. That way they can get added benefit off of that, because I don't think the fact that they go back to the deck while charging kind of mitigates the fact that they get the benefits from being called out, especially because there's not very many units that call during the battle phase for Spike Brothers during the early portions of the game. And so I definitely think it gives a lot of benefit for the future, and I'm excited to see where they go, especially when now we have the new stuff coming out for Blaze, Rescue for Angels, Burst from Dimension Police, and like I look forward to all the other stuff that's coming out. There's a few keywords or a few clans that don't have a keyword yet, like Shadows. We don't really know what their keyword is because they don't have one just yet, and so there's definitely room for expansion on those, and I'm looking forward to where it's going. From Kipron, I know him from North Carolina. Who is the cutest Great Nature unit, and why is it Coilin Duckbill? I don't think Coilin Duckbill is the cutest Great Nature animal. Since I prefer bears, the only real bears there are Polaris, Abacus Bear. There's one more, I believe, but they're not really that cute in terms of being small and cuddly animals. I like little Hamskay, Hamtaro, that's what I like to call them. Telescope Rabbit's also cute. Balloon Raccoon is a cute little unit. I don't think Coilin Duckbill's all that cute. It's nice. It's a great card. I wish Spike Brothers had an equivalent, but I like the little raccoon, the rabbit, and Hamskay. Those would be my three picks for cutest Great Nature unit. From Shanson, why do you main Spike Brothers? Is it because of the concept, the art, or the playstyle? Perhaps all the above. I like Spike Brothers for a few reasons. Because I used to play football coming up through school. I started in 8th grade and played through my senior year of high school. Then I focused on track and field more, but there's no track and field clan, unfortunately. I love the game of football. I love watching it. I enjoy watching it from Saturday through Sunday, maybe Friday for high school when I start having kids. Definitely Friday, as long as they play football. I love their concept of attacking and getting out the way. So that way you prevent a little bit of deck out, and you prevent your units from being destroyed, so you can reuse them over and over again as long as they keep coming back to you. I like that they attack for power, because I love, from previous games that I played, I love units that are like have big bodies and they're hard to deal with because they're so massive. So like early stuff that have high attack power and conversely high defense, so that way they're kind of quote unquote sticky, so they stick around so you can keep using them over and over again. Granted, that's a little bit harder by the nature of Vanguard, and so I shifted my focus more towards attacks you can't handle. And so Spike Brothers, at least at the time when I picked up the game, they had that better than most of the other clans, because they could attack multiple times for high power and start chipping away at the damage. That's more, thankfully, over time with like Break Ride Legion, Miracle Ace, those things. I love that aspect of the clan. In fact, that like a few joys in Vanguard come from the fact that my opponent has 6 cards in hand, but they can't block my attack because it's too big, and so they have to eat the damage and hope that they can get an out from that. I love that feeling. And there's few other feelings in Vanguard that compare to the fact that when your opponent can't guard your attack because it's too big to handle. Like, and plus it comes from like a huge wave of attacks, like it's an unending flow of attacks, which I enjoy a lot. So unlike Aquaforce, where they have a lot of attacks that chip away for little damage, I like the bigger attacks that hit for high damage and they can't handle it regardless. And their playstyle fits me as well because like I'm kind of a combo player. I like being able to see my combo be pulled off successfully. So like if it happens earlier because it just happens that way, I like it. Or I like being able to build up to it and then watching and reaping the benefits of being a little more patient with it. And so I'm more of an aggressive player. I can play a little defensively just to make sure I keep my combo handy, but I like being able to put stuff onto the board and being able to influence the game flow in my favor. Or keep it flexible. Like if I have to come back a little bit to be able to survive and then hit you on the comeback, that's fine with me too. So hopefully that answers your question. I kind of went here, and there with that. And his other question is there any Vanguard unit that holds a special place in your heart? Ryzen Nova, or exceptional expertise Ryzen Nova. I used to love Bad-End Dragger for what it did, but once I understood how the Charge G-Base deck worked fully after trying it out, I was like, this deck and Ryzen Nova, they are what I've been waiting for. And like he's the engine kind of sort of, because he's your grade 3 that you want to ride, because if you ride any other grade 3, either Dobe or Hive Maker, your game plan goes into the crapper like almost immediately. And so like knowing that he's the, what's the word, I guess linchpin, I guess that's the right word. Because since he's like so integral to the deck, like I love having it. And he was the first SP, not the first SP, but he's like, well, one of the better art wise SPs. And so I definitely wanted to make sure I got 4 of those as fast as I could, even though I only played 3 in the deck right now for space and consistency purposes. Like I definitely got the 4th one ready in my binder just in case, and I definitely wanted to get 4 of those as fast as I could. So definitely that's like my avatar, I guess if you want to say it that way, is Ryzen Nova. Thunderbreak. Why did you replace your original avatar Stern/Galaxy Blau with Bad-End and Ryzen Nova? Actually, before I changed my name on Pojo, this is where the question comes from. I actually went by a name Crimson Brawler from my Duel Master days back when I played. And so my original, the OG original, was a Bolshak Dragon avatar with the letters CB in the corner. And then as I picked up Vanguard, I started shifting it over more and more. And so I did have Stern Galaxy for a time, and then I shifted it more back when I more favored the Blau engine, because I love Blau. It's my favorite Nova archetype. And then I shifted it more towards Spike Brothers back when I started picking it up the game again, and when I got more into it over time. And now Ryzen Nova, because as I just mentioned, Ryzen Nova is the boy. My favorite card in the game right now. And see, from Rastoke, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, he actually won the shirt giveaway for my 100 sub special. It seemed like so short time ago. Like, thank you guys for spreading it around, because this went from 100 to 200 so quickly, and I really appreciate it. So keep sharing it around and keep getting people interested in the channel, and like I definitely really appreciate it. But his question is, with the way G Guardians are shaping up to be, do you think they'll impact the strength of any Spike Brothers deck? And what kind of outs do Spikes have against walls like that, or things like Bladewing Sullivan? So what G Guardians do for Spikes is great. It gives us better defensive capabilities because we can drop 1 card to stop an attack that would otherwise require 2 cards. So we can keep more combo pieces in hand for the decks that are more combo heavy, which are Ryzen Miracle and Bad-End Dragger base, or Bloody Ogle base. And then being able to do First Stride Miracle Ace is amazing. Like I tested out with my group of friends, and it's amazing if your opponent is within the kill zone, which is quote unquote kill zone. Excuse me, which is like 3 damage ish or a low hand count, because as long as you can pull off the combo with Frog Raider, you'll be able to push them from 2 damage to 6 damage in that one turn off of first stride ace, which is incredible. And if not, you can at least strip their hand down to where they may not be able to catch you on the swing back the following turn. G Guardians also give you access to second stride Picaro more effectively. The cost is kind of heavy a little bit, but the fact that you can do it without having to go into something like Blizza or Geronimo or using Miracle Ace as a natural first stride saves you so many cards in hand, and fill up the field with 3 units at the same time, which is amazing. And so for things that have walls like Angel Feathers or Blade Wing, it's a little bit easier to handle with Ryzen than it would be for the Bloody Index Jessica decks, because the combo potential with Frog Raider helps you overcome such bigger walls versus the earlier attacks in Frozen, because Frozen attacks for 24, which is 2 cards from hand or 1 G Guardian. Or if they hit a damage trigger, then it just becomes 1 card from hand, and then they don't even have to use their G Guardian really, because it's just a 10k shield. And so those buffs from Angels with like Nurse of Broken Heart, those kind of combos hurt the Bloody combo more so than it hurts the Ryzen Nova combo. So those are things to keep in mind for the aspiring Spike Brothers players out there, and that something keep in the back of your mind. And I know I'm looking like up and down. I'm getting used to the whole webcam feature of it, and I'm looking at the questions as well. But I hope that answers your question. Like, I'm looking forward to what Spikes have to offer in the future, because with my testing, like, I've seen the potential that it has, and then hopefully Bushiroad gives Spike support sooner rather than later, because I know with that becomes Ryzen Nova V2, the Stride Evolution, maybe more charge units, maybe some charge units like I mentioned before that activate pre GB1, and just further support in general. And hopefully they reprint Mecha Trainer. That'd be what I want the most, because Mecha Trainer helps the deck out so much. I know people don't like Mecha Trainer because he's in the same vein as Conroe, but the reason Conroe was restricted at the time it was because it gave really high consistency to Novell, and that was all that was played for Kagero, and it superseded everything because of what Novell did at that time, which was pre-Legion and pre-Stride, and it just had to go. And for Spikes, our main targets aren't as voluminous as it was for Kagero. Like, we have Millie, the PG, the Stride Break, and now we can get a heal trigger off of Mecha Trainer. And it's great that we can get that, but it's not quite as impactful as it was with Kagero option in option sense. So hopefully Bushiroad can reprint Mecha Trainer with G in the future if they're going the G regulation route. That'll make me happy. And I know they don't really want to appease the one, but I don't think Spike Brothers will be so overpowered with Mecha Trainer staying around. That's my opinion. But I could be biased. From Kipori, did you know you're my hero? I did not. Thank you very much, and thank you for checking out the content, and looking forward to interacting with you more on the Vanguard Reddit site. From Fairy Leviathan, how does cloning and bloom work for Neo Nectar? Mainly when using Maiden of Delphinium / Flower Pistol. When they change their names to the unit with bloom, does the bloom cards effect activate, like 2+ boost from Green Shot Elf or the 4K to all from Katrina? Not first of all, yes, it does work that way. From those particular units, unless, depending on how it's worded, I don't know how it's worded off the top of my head, but I know for units such as Thuria, the way she's worded, and that's like when she's about to be placed down, she takes the name of one of your units, and then as she touches down, bloom triggers for all the ones with the same name as her. And so in that case, Katrina activates, giving +4s. And, well, I should back up. I got ahead of myself. The way Bloom works is that if you have a unit with Bloom on the field already, say you have one Katrina on the field, if you call another Katrina, all Katrinas with the same name trigger from the one that bloomed, which is the one that was already on the field. The one you call does nothing in terms of bloom. So if you have one out and you call one, they only get +4s to each Katrina. Now, if you call out another Katrina, the two on the field bloom once a piece, so +8,000, and it gives power to all the other Katrinas. So as you clone them, it kind of boosts up from there, and then that's when numbers get really big, and then that's when I start getting confused. I'll leave that to Corey Kai. He's the resident Neonectar player from amongst our group. So hopefully that answers your question. Like, if you call out a unit such as Thuria, which takes the name, it copies it as she's being placed down, and then Bloom triggers for the units that have Bloom that have the same name as her. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. From Crispitch, with almost all the clans getting more supports from the G era, what are your thoughts about if ever Bushiroad finally go for G regulation as an official format? Like, it depends on what Bushiroad chooses to reprint, because there are some units in decks that are used now that aren't G regulated in terms of having the flag in the corner of the card at the bottom. So for example, they printed Good End Dragger in Fighters Collection has the flag, but Bad End, which is the only card that it works with currently, came in set 10 or 11, I can't remember, but that does not have the flag. So if G regulation became a thing, unless they reprint it, Bad End Dragger, or put some kind of special name in place or something like that, you won't be able to use Bad End with Good End anymore. So they would have to like make reprints in a similar vein such as that. And then there are some cards that are like, I remember before they said they would allow triggers from whichever era, so which is fine. But then some starters such as my beloved Mecha Trainer would be not G regulated unless they reprinted him, which I hope they do. So I'll be for it. Like, it'll be interesting to see the format. I know some of my friends will be against it because stuff like some reason they got away from other card games was set rotation, and I'm not a big fan of set rotation, but I don't consider G regulation a full set rotation. But I might be biased because I play a deck that's mostly focused on G era stuff, and I know people that have stuff that's mostly non-G stuff will have to transition over, and they won't like that. And it'll be an adjustment period if they go full G regulation, and people might drop out, might bring people back on that previously didn't like some stuff, such as Commander Laurel wouldn't be G unless they did a reprint version of him. Things like that. So it'd be interesting to see how it would go. They would definitely, like I said, have to reprint some stuff to be able to work within the format itself. And so we'll see. It'll be an interesting thing to take a look at. Let's see. From Atlas Novak, have you tried clans besides Spike Brothers? What do you think of them? I've actually tried just about every clan in Vanguard. The only clans I can think of that I haven't tried fully is Genesis and Murakumo. Well, that's not true. I tried the Riot Chain back for a little bit of time, and that was kind of to me at the time, before the new Magatsu stuff came out. I dabbled with Bermudas for a time, very briefly, around the beginning of the Riot Chain for Riviere, before all her stuff came out. But mine is outside of Genesis and Gears. I haven't really tried Gear Chronicle at all. Besides those two, I've tried every clan in Vanguard, and I like them. Like, it doesn't suit my style really, because I like to play a little more aggressively and then have the means to be able to defend myself. And I like the combos beat up. Like I mentioned before, I like being able to attack for a lot of power, and that mostly comes from Spike Brothers, or did at the time. Now it's shifting more towards Neos, and Neos would be fun to play, but I don't have the means, or I have the willpower to want to go out and get a full Neonectar Asha Bloom deck because of how expensive it is. But There are decks that definitely fit my playstyle that it'll be fun to play, but I'll leave that more for CFO, CFA type stuff and dabble with that in the future. From Drago, top 5 favorite clans. Spike Brothers, Spike Brothers, Spike Brothers, Spike Brothers, Spike Brothers. I kid. Definitely Spike Brothers. I like Shadow Paladin. I like Great Nature. I like Narukami, especially Conquest Dragon, Sweep Command, all that jazz that went on there. And then number 5, that's kind of tough. It'd be between Nova Grapplers and Dimension Police. It'd probably be Nova Grapplers because, first of all, it's wrestling, and I love WWE, as I've mentioned that before. And I enjoy robots. One of my favorite games growing up was Armored Core. I have like pretty much all of them from the PS2 era forward. I love Custom Robo for the GameCube. I used to have it. I might get it again and play it again because it's that much fun. So I enjoy robots. So number 5 would be Nova Grapplers, definitely. And then last question from Mr. Riot. How'd you get the name Living Proof? I mentioned this way back when I started the podcast. The name comes from the title song Living Proof from Bad Meets Evil, which is Eminem and Royce the 5'9". I discovered Bad Meets Evil when Real Steel came out, the fighting movie with the robot with not Gene Hackman. What's his name? Wolverine. I forget his name. Is Hugh Jackman. That's his name. There we go. From Hugh Jackman, he was in it. And one of the songs that they played when previewing was Fastlane by Bad Meets Evil. And I really enjoyed the beat to it. I really enjoyed the song. And I was like, where can I find this at? And I looked it up. And that's when it led me to Bad Meets Evil. And then I found the rest of their album. And I started listening to it. And then when I got to Living Proof, it kind of, I guess, resonated with me. In the lyrics of the song. And how the message talking about how wanting to go... not stopping, staying up on your dreams, having the people around you to facilitate that dream and going forward, that type of stuff, minus the cuss words. And I really like the song, and this is back when I was playing more Pokemon Showdown, and I used the name, and I was like, I really like this, and I started listening to songs more, listen to Bad Meets Evil more, and the name stuck. And so thinking about it more, it became less of a nickname and more of how I wanted to not perceive my life, but how I wanted to live my life. I wanted to show people or show myself that I can do what I put my mind to. And as I started doing this channel, what I use for my name, the name Living Proof definitely was what stuck with me and what I wanted to go forward with, and using that song as my intro song, or part of it as my intro song, was something I really wanted to incorporate because of what it means to me. And I know it's a little deep, but I definitely like to think of myself as more than just the nickname Living Proof, and more of being living proof of what I can accomplish in life, and which is making this channel grow as much as I can. But first and foremost, being healthy, happy with my fiance, soon to be wife, growing our family, having a great group of friends around me, and then achieving the stuff that I want to achieve in life. And so I'm sure that might be a little bit deeper than what you were expecting, but hey, that's what these Q&As are for. That's the last question that I have. I know I mentioned I was going to pick the best question to give a shirt to. I'll do that at a little bit of a later time as I have a chance to go back through after editing the video and putting everything together. Ooh, excuse me. But definitely look out for that. And in the future, I'm going to start putting up a review for Fighters Collection, and I'm going to break that down by nation itself. Maybe talking about the positives, if they're there, and the negatives for said cards, and then giving each individual card a grade along the way. In my personal opinion, a grade. So look out for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the special. Thank you again for 200. I really appreciate it. hopefully keep spreading the word, and let's get this to 300, 400, 500, soon to be 1,000, and it'll be amazing what we can do from there. And until next time, guys, peace, be easy.